Welcome to the Sportsman's Voice podcast, your inside connection to outdoor legislation. From the Beltway to policy happening your way, we're covering it all. I'm your host, Fred Bird. Join us as we explore public land access, wildlife and fisheries management, Second Amendment rights, the triumphs that shape our nation, the sports we all love, and the stories that fuel our passion for the great outdoors. This is the Sportsman's Voice podcast.
We are, like I said, live. This is going to be a quick turnaround on this one. Normally we do these a little while in advance, but we took advantage of being at SHOT Show, being on the floor to join our friends at Traditions, Tom and Allison Hall. We brought them to you during the NAS Summit, but now we're in their proverbial living room here on the floor of SHOT, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, that is muzzle loading, but then a whole lot more. The live fire demos that were conducted here in Las Vegas a couple of days ago, some new technology, a new product to discuss, but ultimately, hi, how are you? Thanks for having me in your your proverbial little living room.
We're good. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome to the SHOT Show. This is a monster. I've remarked and joked the last day and a half of I've managed to successfully not be here for about a decade and a half. But anyone in the space, you probably should come out here at least once and try it, see what it's like.
It's really impressive when you get to walk the floor and see all the people that are here, how the products, and for anybody that's in the hunting world, I think they would enjoy seeing this.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much here just from tech and military grade stuff and survivalist gear, and then the hunting side of the house, like you said, as well. So a little bit for everybody, I guess, in the record shooting person in your life, or sportsman or woman, right? So yeah, it's a monster though. So bring your walking shoes if you come out here. Stay hydrated, and
You'll get your steps.
yeah, no doubt. Bring the electrolytes too. All right, so we just saw you guys at NASC in Baton Rouge. I think that was very successful. I mean, from our end, it was hugely successful, record-breaking. But then we got to have you guys out there too, and you guys did a live fire demo showing the legislative sportsman caucus representatives, our co-chairs, different legislators, agency folks, which is really important, right? People coming out there to try the products, get behind it, and actually see what you guys have to offer and why it's beneficial. How was NASC for you? And again, talk about the reactions there.
Yeah, no, we were super excited to go. Federal, was there, wanted to show the fire stick. So the Nitro Fire was the gun we brought to do that, as it's a Firestick-capable platform. Right. We felt like it was just a great turnout. We felt like everyone had a great time shooting the Nitro Fire. It was amazing to be around all of these people who are decision makers and legislators in these states, and to get to interface with them and have conversation about legality and things like that, and just to be around people that are in the space that we don't always get to be talking with in that kind of capacity. So we had a great time. You guys do a great job putting on the event, so it was very cool. And then we also brought our Crackshot XBR, which is our arrow launching rifle, which was kind of just like something we just brought along. It's extremely fun to shoot, so sure, we thought they would enjoy it as well. So I think that went over wonderfully. We had a lot of great conversation in regards to the Nitro Fire legalization in the states where it's not legal yet, but also in regards to the XBR and where that can go. So we appreciate the invite, and we just thought it was an amazing event for us.
Yeah. Did you want to say something? I didn't want to step on you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Same thing. I think putting these firearms in different people's hands that are making these decisions, at least they can look at it from an objective standpoint. How to use the firearm? How safe is it? Is it something that fits in our state? Is this some place we want to go? But I think especially when you look at the Nitro Fire and the Fire Stick platform, it shows what you can do with a muzzleloader. But then the XBR, the expression, you can look at it in the catalog, you can see in the video, but when you pull the trigger and you shoot that arrow, whole different opinion on the platform. So yeah, it was a great event. It was successful, and we're glad we're invited, and we want to support you guys and what you're trying to do, and anything that we can do to get better seasons, longer seasons, and get folks out there. We're all about it. So we were proud to be there, and hope to come back again this year.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll be in Memphis. We announced that, but another plug here, shameless plug. Memphis 2025 in the second week of December. Yeah, we'll have a good time in Memphis. legislatively speaking, this would seem to be, in a air finger quote, easy fix, right? We're just adding some language to existing statute, existing regulations that are already out there. Really shouldn't be a heavy lift, but oftentimes, and more so kind of out where we're at now here in these Western states, there's a lot of pushback. Um, Talk to the concerns that, these people I don't want to say supposedly, that's not nice, that they have, and the simple retorts, and how we're educating and advocating for this very positive step in technology advancement in muzzle loading, and also archery.
I think what we want people to know about the Fire Stick is that it makes muzzleloading first and foremost safer. The Fire Stick system allows you, it gives you the ability to double load your firearm. You can clearly see that there is a charge in the barrel. For anybody who has not seen the Fire Stick, they're bright colors. They're very easily seen in a break action, or even now the new bolt action that we have. They're impervious to moisture, which helps with the, consistency and reliability. You can easily remove this charge if you're getting in and out of a tree stand, getting in and out of vehicles. So what I would want any state that hasn't legalized it to know is that we're out here making it safer. And that's really what the top thing we're trying to do. Yes, reliability, consistency, all of that translates to better shots, more ethical shots, better downrange accuracy. But the safety standpoint is really the key from what we're trying to do.
I think there's one thing to add to that is that I'd like them to look at it, it still is a primitive firearm. You have to
Mhm.
load the bullet from the muzzle. You're not sticking a cartridge in, you're sticking a encapsulated powder charge. So it's just your powder. It's no different really if you load it from the breech or if you load it from the muzzle. The bullet still has to go down. So you're not going to get a second shot at, just like a cartridge firearm. But I guess more importantly, it's the accuracy. When you're shooting out here versus shooting maybe in the Northeast or somewhere else in the country, could be longer shots. It could be you don't have, it's harder to judge distance. So you want to make sure that the firearm's capable of doing that. And with this fire stick, it makes it the same every time. You're not breaking a pellet. You're not putting more powder in one shot versus another shot. So that accuracy that you're going to get, it's consistent. And that's one of the things is it's also about retention, right? It's getting those guys, the hunters, to stay with that platform. If you have a muzzleloading season, this makes it simple and easy for them to go and use it. So they're more likely to go out and buy a muzzleloading tag and go out and try to fill that tag during that season. So I think it welcomes people back. We've heard from guys that people that used muzzleloaders in the past, and the cleaning of this is so much easy. So it's not only safer, it's easier to clean, it's accurate. It's all those things that welcomes people back to get those tags and participate in those states in the hunting season. So it really has a lot that can add to those states. Never mind the revenues that are generated from the sales tax or
Mhm.
the tags, but also the hunters go out, they start talking about it. They might see some animals that they haven't seen in other seasons because depends on when it is in the state. So I know some of the mid states, you get out there and there's deer that these guys have on their farms. They don't see it until the snow comes and they come out and they left some beans on the field.
Yeah.
So it it invites those guys out there and they start talking and other people start doing it. So I would do just what we did down in Baton Rouge, and that is if we can put this in your hand, you can shoot it, you can see how it performs. It just gives you a whole different opinion of muzzleloading.
Everything you just said, I mean, they're all. I'm not even gonna call them selling points. I mean, I guess so, but like they're just facts, right?
Yeah.
These are the facts of the technology, how it's advanced, and what you guys are able to provide with your partners at Federal and the platform to utilize it. We got a bad habit in our community and have for years of eating our own, right? So you got these purists out here that want to ballyhoo against some new technology. And I mean, the archers do it to each other. So if we're all going to be purist muzzle loaders, or we all running out there with our possibles bag and, our flint, and, this is not where we're at in 2025. So if that's your bag and you want to do that, God bless you. Go out there and have fun and do the thing you want to do. You're still participating in it. But for others, and to your point, Tom, is making making these platforms less intimidating, taking some of the scary out of a lot of this stuff, and just get, like you said, put it in their hands and see how it works, and the easeability and the functionality of it takes away a lot of that unknown, scariness of this stuff. And then people have a good time. It's like, yeah, I want to go back. I love this. Even with the pellets, the pre-pressed pellets, those of us that love muzzle loading, we all know those aren't 100%. you do your loose pours, not 100%, and then you factor in humidity and weather and golly days. I mean, this is, again, it's an investment, right? I mean, powder's not cheap.
Yep.
It's gone up exponentially in the last decade and a half. I dare say it's almost tripled. I want to be able to use that again next year. I don't want this stuff, getting humidity to it and losing its luster and its ability to effectively get downrange and fill my tag, right? And here you go with again, this federal product working in tandem with Traditions platforms.
Just to chime in on it a little bit is that at Traditions, we have the flintlock guns for those seasons. We have the percussion cap guns. We have the musket rifles. So we have all those too. And depending on the seasons and the states that are in play, uh, it's great. Use the firearm that's legal to use, obviously, but also if you enjoy doing that because you're allowed to do it in that state, fantastic. And that's why we have both types of firearms that we offer under our brand. But states that have the inline season already, they're already in that. And they're already offering that platform. This is just an expansion of the inline season, not to take away from the purists that want to use loose powder and they want to do other things. We believe in it. We do it too. And this is more like somebody that has the inline. They haven't shot the fire stick. Just give it a shot.
That's great.
It's about
There's room for everybody in the muzzleloader.
Of course. Of course.
There's no limit.
You're still loading it from the front, right? I mean, you alluded to it. You'll have this misconception you're going to be, rapid firing, rapid reload. Like, no, still got to push it from the top. And I dare say, even as clean as this may burn, the foulings down on the inside, that follow-up's still a little challenging to get down. Every muzzleloader hunter knows that when you go to, follow that blood trail or whatever you're doing. I had a thought and I lost it because I started going down the rabbit hole of cleaning, and I have a default mechanism to have an aversion to cleaning. So,
I think it would just on that cleaning, just to expand on that. That's one of the biggest issues with muzzleloading, right? People get it and they shoot. If you shoot black powder, you know exactly where I'm coming from here. It's depending on humidity and stuff, how caked up it gets and how dirty it is for everything. That's where we have in the fire stick. It burns so much cleaner, cleanup's easier, but also second, third shot, you don't have that fouling because she stays on target. All those things that are contributed to that. It's just so much easier to clean up. So people, they take care of the firearms because it's easier.
It's an investment. I mean, these items aren't cheap. Most of us are working class, and I don't care what end of working class you're on. These are investments. You're a good timing. You're recreating. You want to make sure you have them for a lifetime, or at least half of that. Then maybe upgrade with technology gets really better. So yeah, if you're one of those guys, and there are many of you out there, you're not going to admit it, that leave that load in from last November, December, and you get to October, August, and your barrel's a little fuzzy, and oh no. Presumably, I mean, if you left one of these in there, you're not gonna, have fuzzy powder, right?
Well, what's nice about the NitroFire platform is that you can break it open, you can remove your fire stick, and you can look down the barrel and you can see if you left something in there unintentionally. So, again, just from a safety standpoint, you can see that.
Huge, and you both you're coming home to it. You said it out loud. The double feeding of these is a real possibility and danger. So if you are, again, and I'm guilty of it, like they're in season. If I haven't shot it, it's not coming out. I'm leaving it in there. Some of us have old school tricks of the trade. We'll mark our ramrods and know right where that level is. So if I forget, I just put it. Yeah, I'm good to go. But people that are new to it don't have that understanding, that know that nuance of what we do out there as muzzleloader hunters. And that's a real bad day. You start putting a bullet on top of 100 or 150 grains, and then you go and double that up. And these guns they're not made for that.
Just from a safety standpoint, that's one of the things that we obviously advocate is taking ramrod and marking it. But also, if you leave it in there for a period of time, we do also say make sure that bullet's still seated on your powder charge or in this particular firearm on the shelf so that it hasn't moved away from that to cause an obstruction in the barrel. So, all those things are a lot easier when you can check your ramrod, especially if it's been sitting for a period. Yeah. So.
For listeners.
What's that? Oh,
It's a great tip.
Yeah, no, for sure. And take it a step further, I've always told people with your muzzleloaders that you got a breech plug system or whatever it is, move it, open it up, crack it, let that air circulate throughout the off season because that that helps too. All right, so here at SHOT Show, how was the live fire demo day? What has this very large and giant crowd, their reactions been?
It was we have a new platform. You want me to talk?
Just rolling.
Sure. So we have a new platform that we introduced at Range Day. We hunted with it this last fall, and again, it's expanding on the Fire Stick technology. And the only some of the differences are it's a bolt action rifle, as you can see. It's got a bolt in it, but still playing off the Pro Series that Traditions offer. It's got adjustable like the pull. It's got adjustable cone piece, so you can come up or down, customize it for yourself. It's got a bolt action here with a 3-position safety. You push it in, or load the bolt, cock it all the way back. It locks the bolt in so you can't open it. If you're walking in the woods, you can't open, you know it's in a safe position. The middle position allows you to load or unload your Fire Stick. You simply put it in after you seated your bullet, and you put the Fire Stick in. And if you decide you don't want, once you're ready to shoot, you close it up. And then when you're ready to fire, you push it all the way forward. It's in a fire position.
So essentially, and if I'm off base, correct me, but someone would be looking at this or listening, why would I want to go to a bolt action? And as I'm watching you demo, there's never have you engaged the hammer in any of this. You just have a safety, right? So I think one of the good ideas here is they're taking that danger or that ability to screw something up with engaging a hammer on some of the other platforms, right? And then if you don't take that shot, you got to let that hammer off. And we all know that, for some people it can be riding the line, if you will, right? It's a little nerve wracking, but there's no hammer involved here. You have a straight safety.
Well, everything's internal in the bolt, right? So your fire mechanisms inside the bolt. But yeah, exactly. You have a safety, which is right here that you can see it's in safe. You can see it's in a fire position. But the bolt just, again, it's no different than if you have a break action like in a NitroFire, where you close it up, it's safety on the trigger piece. But this is just a little bit easier to see. And then if you decide you don't want to shoot it, you take your Fire Stick out. If you wanted to check, you could very easily pull the bolt out and look in, and you can see if there's a bullet down in the barrel still. So that's important. Just like you visually check on the NitroFire, you can see if there's a bullet in there, if there's anything else in the gun itself.
Easeability of cleaning this system.
Fantastic. Good question, and fantastic. It's part of our engineers designed in this gun. If you make it easy to clean, they'll clean their gun, right? If it's difficult, then obviously, and you shot black powder enough, our muzzleloaders, that if you don't clean them, there's going to be a problem. So we make it easier. You can basically take the bolt, you put it in, you decock it. It comes with an Allen wrench. You take the Allen wrench, unscrew this, and it comes out in 4 pieces.
Okay.
And literally, I can clean this or take it apart, clean it, and put it back in less than 5 minutes. So it's real easy. And with that Fire Stick powder, that 888 that's in the Fire Sticks, it makes it burns a lot cleaner. So it's already easier to clean up.
Do you have access to the fire hole on that when you take it apart and disassemble it?
Yep.
That's always a spot people always, when they're new, they miss, right? And why isn't it operating the way it should? Well, your fire hole's blocked, right? But for this, and I could see it there. So when this disassembles, are you able to look down and make sure everything?
Yeah. Once you disassemble it, the firing pin's out. You can look at it, the spring that the firing pin's wrapped around. You can clean all that, and then you have the body of the bolt, and you can look right in it like you clean it out. You can see that it's clean, and it's very visual, so you can know that it is clean.
That's great.
Some of the other features are it still has our chrome moly 21 and 24-inch twist barrel. It's got the vapor twist on it, so it allows you to shoot different bullet weights and all that. And then we also, like on our Pro Series, we have a threaded muzzle. And we also make a muzzle brake that you can put on here. So it knocks the recoil down. But more importantly, for a lot of us, it knocks the recoil down, gives you accuracy down range because you don't have the recoil. If you shoot a gun without a brake, and then you shoot one with the brake, you not only feel the recoil, you see visually that the bullet or the barrel itself doesn't jump as much. So it gives you that better, a little longer distance, long range accuracy, because you don't have that happening. But it's a fantastic piece. We shot it on Monday. We had all sorts of folks out at the range. They loved it. They were shooting all different distances at still target. It's easy to use, easy to clean, and it's just expanding the technology with the Fire Stick for Traditions. So
I like what you've done there, looking at your ramrod piece there. And forgive me, I don't know if the others already have this, but this is new to me. It looks like you've included a T handle on this.
Yeah. This particular one that comes with the gun, exactly.
That's smart.
So when you go to load your firearm and you're pushing it down, instead of pushing on just the tip here, this slides over the top, and it just makes it easier. It comes with a threaded piece where you could thread it on and use it for cleaning and all. So yeah, just again, making it easier to load, especially in the cold weather.
Yeah.
It's just trying to grab that ramrod and push that bullet down.
Small detail that makes a whole lot of difference.
Exactly. That point too. Once we have another product we could talk about real quick, which anybody who has a muzzle loader, especially traditions, might find interesting, which is a new ramrod as well.
Talk to us.
So this ramrod is called our Ram T rod. It comes you could get it as an accessory, but I'm sure with your muzzle loader you have to take off a jag, flip it around, and screw it back on. Now you don't have to do that. This is a telescoping rod, so you just unscrew the end of the rod. It comes out like this. You simply turn it back around, and then the T handle comes out, and you just load that way. It obviously sticks in place, and then you just load that way instead of having to flip around your jag. So
I've seen years ago a variation of that, but what's different and what makes that nicer is that telescopic design there. How's that held up so far? People look at more parts equal more weak spots in the design. Nothing you guys are selling, so obviously you're not going to put
No, it's
it out there, but never had issues with it.
Yeah, it's a steel piece that's in there, so it's steel, so it's going to give you the strength when you
Nice.
do extend it, and when you twist it and it locks in, it gives you the strength, so it's not going anywhere. But we tested it for a number of years, or a couple of years probably, in developing it. But what's nice, it fits in some of these guns like a break action, where you can't have a longer ramrod because of the receiver itself makes it shorter than the barrel. So it gives you the extension you need to push that bullet down, especially if you shot a few times, it gets a little hard. It gives you that strength to do that. You could use it for cleaning because now you can extend it and come in from the back end of the gun and clean it. But yeah, it's a fantastic piece. It makes it easier. Again,
we introduced that mid last year, so that's why I want to mention it here today because I want people to know about that. It is something that people have frustration with.
Sure.
We, as users of the product, we wanted to come out with something that was going to make time in the field more endurable, and this definitely does that. So,
Both items offer to have it with you, right? So I know on my setups, I have a little possibles bag, I guess, and I got my extra charges in there, my extra parts, the jag, a variation of a T handle or a spot that's not like drilling into my hand, right, to put more surface pressure. But these are parts that are loose and have a very good ability to find themselves to be donated to the great wide open, right? I always leave a striker in the turkey wood somewhere, no matter what. Having it as part of that retaining system there, and then having the T handle, the telescopic T handle, and this optional rod is really great because you can't lose it, right? They're there.
exactly.
And the way that came across apart on your new platform, you will know if you've lost it because you can't put your rod back. Right back.
well, and what's nice about this is, like you said, it's all inclusive. It's all one rod, but like a secondary shot. When you're out in the woods, I mean, trying to get something in your pocket to find it, and today, I don't know about you, but like all my jackets, all my pants, I got multiple pockets. You're trying to find which one you put it in at 5 o'clock in the morning before you left the house or whatever, the camp, and then when you need to do it when you're out there. So this just makes it easy for that secondary shot. You unscrew it, load it quick, let's screw it back down, put it back in the thimbles, and you're good to go. So
Smart.
Yep.
Barrels pre-tapped, ready to go for optics and mounts.
yeah, it comes with a one-piece base with the gun, so that's all ready for you. If you decide you're using somebody else's scope or somebody else's mounting system, it's all Jordan tap. You can use that as well. But one of the things to point out as well is on our bolt we have a cocking indicator. So again, part of that safety is when you cock the gun, you can see that it is cocked. Once you fire it, it's internal. You know the gun's not cocked. So again, from that safety, playing off that safety of the bolt itself.
Yeah, that's great. And where we're from in New England, I mean, this is what's great about these platforms and this technology is that we don't often get the long distance shooting they have out here, right? In these mountainous, long, arid states, right? So being able to have rifle distance and rifle accuracy in a one-shot proposition is pretty awesome and empowering in our very crowded New England states or the Northeast and all of it, right? I would prefer even during our shotgun seasons to go out with my muzzleloader for sure, because I know the capability of it, just like you guys do. Shotguns get a little weird sometimes, and they're not always 100%.
Sure.
So for the rifle guys, I mean, this is a great opportunity to get into it. And again, building on that, you actually have a rifle feel with this bolt, right? I mean, for people that just like the feel.
In the lockup, again, the same thing. You can look at it, you can see it, it's locked up. You can put the safety in, the bolt's not going anywhere. And just all different temperatures, all different weather conditions. It still keeps that powder dry. It keeps everything secure in there. So Yeah, especially when you get out west, it's just we think it's going to do well out here.
So actively, I say that right at this very moment, I know because I got a letter to look at to make sure everything's where it needs to be. We have legislation being introduced to clear up some of this as it pertains to the new technology and account for it. Your home state of Connecticut, we're doing that right now. Talk about the importance of that. Talk about, our two organizations working together to bring these very small but important victories to state houses across the country, especially out here in the West.
Sure. Well, obviously we're in Connecticut, so it would be impactful for us to have it in our home state
Yeah.
to be able to use this new technology. But I just think it opens up the doors for the hunters that are out there that want a muzzleloading hunt. They potentially might go to another state where they can use it. They're not buying the equipment in the state of Connecticut, but I think working with your organization, getting the exposure to those folks, and then having them come out. If we need to go do a shoot with them, I'm more than happy to go and educate people, put a gun in their hand, let them shoot it, see what it's all about, and they can see where we're going with it. But yeah, I think, that's opened up our doors in Baton Rouge to get that opportunity. So we're all about it, especially in Connecticut, but any states, because it's not just selling guns. It's that muzzleloading experience. It's getting people back to some of these primitive seasons, if you will, that are allowed. But it's um it's giving them opportunity to go out in the woods at different times of the year, even if you haven't filled your tag, or even if you have and you got an opportunity to buy another tag
Sure.
and go out and maybe harvest some deer that you haven't even seen during the season. So we like to use Connecticut to be one of the examples that it's still expanding. We're still working on it. We're working with federal. We're working with some other folks that are in the space, and of course you guys to see if we can open that door.
I think we're all out here doing the same thing, right? We're all trying to just grow our rights as sportsmen's abilities out there. So I think your organization and what Traditions is doing and Federal is doing and all these other people that are out here having a voice for the sportsmen is so important. So we're just honored to be part of that and for you guys to be championing that for some of these different companies out there.
I mean, just because it's new tech doesn't mean it shouldn't be allowed, right? And again, as I alluded to the top, this is a very easy fix. We're not asking people to, you know, take in huge dollars for a large campaign here. Or it's going to break someone's next election cycle. Like, no, this is pretty easy to sponsor. Just it's just a technical, word here or there, and you've just open it up. And then, I mean, additionally, I mean, not to make it about dollars and cents, but the funding mechanism that's in place on these items, if I go out and buy an arm, I'm contributing another 10%, 11% into that
Mhm.
pot just by virtue of my purchase, whether I'm cognizant of that or not. Um, that's important.
Yeah.
But I think also as part of the other thing I said it earlier is retention. It's
Yeah.
keeping that guy or the folks that want to go out, the sportsmen, and sportswomen that want to go out and during the muzzling season, it's keeping them engaged. It's having come back and buy more sticks, buy more bullets, buy all that. So it's the initial purchase, but it's also the consumables that you're going to get after that too. And I think more importantly, or just as important, is that people that do hunt those seasons, they get to talk about it, and if they enjoy muzzle loading, they can tell some of their friends that hopefully there was a season that they enjoy going out because time in the woods. A lot of the hunters might not be, many hunters might not be out there during centerfire season, shotgun season, whatever you have in your state, but it just gives you some time to be out in the woods and enjoying the surrounding and maybe seeing some big bucks that you've never seen during the regular season. So
Absolutely. Or, some of those seasons that are on the back end of the regular firearm seasons, right? Maybe deer they've seen that just up and disappeared, but on the back end of that rut, they're coming back out because they got to eat. They got to survive the next 4 or 5 months to get to May and then start growing them again. It's just an awesome opportunity in muzzle loading to get back out there. And again, I keep hitting on it. The technology that is available to today's hunter for muzzle loading is like nothing else. You could do it comping.
yeah. And again, I mean, we have the same thing in other states, whether it's flintlock. We have some guns that we've changed some of that technology where you can shoot pellets.
Yeah.
Before you couldn't shoot that in a flintlock firearm. So it depends on the season. We're always trying to advance it to make the experience easier, better. And like you brought up about powder before, I mean, powder is expensive, and you have to buy it in a big jar or a big can, and You want to make sure that you can have it for next year. So any way that we can make it economical or more economical, then obviously in a better experience, we're always trying to do that at Traditions.
What's the so for this new platform, what's the recommended load? Talk about, first timers using it. How are you going out into the woods with it?
We'd recommend probably just like anywhere else. It depends where you're going to be shooting, how far you're going to be shooting. And if you're going to be shooting like 100 yards or so, a 100 grain fire stick with like a 250 grain bullet. We call it our smackdown bullet, like a carnivore. It's a great bullet to use with a 100 grain stick. It's going to give you the performance out to 100 yards, a little further than 100 yards. You're going to be shooting somewhere where you're going to be hunting like an elk or a bigger body animal, then you're probably going to want to move up to like a 300 grain bullet, and because you have more mass, obviously, and then probably move the stick up to a 120 grain fire stick. This gives you more firepower behind that heavier bullet. But just probably the most popular right now is 100, 250 for whitetail, because 100 grain stick, 250 bullet, because it's going to do everything you need.
It's a good standard.
Yeah, it gives you energy downrange. It's accurate. It's easy to shoot. It's easy to find. So, and it just it's effective.
I'm thinking back to some times of getting out of my truck very dark mornings and loading pellets, right? And for a time, I was shooting a 150 load. I just, for whatever reason, it might have been fashionable, but it was in my head. This is what I'm shooting. 2 is easy to remember. 3, real early in the morning, you can forget. And if your ramrod's not taped up with it, those fluctuations and how much that charge is behind there, yeah, you got to start all over again. It just be cumbersome. This is great because it's always the same. What's the ballistics like? The integrity of that round when it hits, as far as keeping together and maximum impact and damage and how these animals are responding to that.
So, just, talking to some of that, this is obviously it's all sealed. So even when it's raining, you're walking through the woods, you got a muzzleloader. If you got regular powder in your barrel or whatever, pellets or loose powder, and you're walking, if you don't have your barrel covered, all that moisture is coming down your barrel and it's running down your barrel. And I've shot pellets or loose powder where you go to shoot it and it doesn't fire because the moisture's got in it. So that helps when you got a lot of moisture in the air. But as far as like the bullet itself, the bullets that we're selling that we're recommending, like the Smackdown Carnivore or some of the other ones that we have in our line, the XRs and stuff, they've all been tested. They retain a lot of their mass. So when you're downrange, you have the energy to take the animal humanely, effectively.
Press as well.
Yeah, it's when you find a bullet inside your animal in the cavity and stuff, you pull it out. The retention of that weight, it's pretty high. So it doesn't fragment. It doesn't go all over the place. They're designed for this powder charge, or they're designed for that powder load. So if it's Pyrex loose powder or Blackhorn 209 or Pyrex pellets or something like that, it's designed to be driven by that type of powder charge. So it's not a handgun bullet like in years ago. You just take a 44 caliber handgun bullet and you'd load it behind some powder. These are bullets that are designed for muzzleloaders with these loads, whether it's loose powder or a fire stick. It really doesn't matter because they're about equal with the powder charge. It's about downrange and keeping that retention of that bullet. So it's like I said, they're effective and they're accurate. So make sure, I would say that's a good point to bring up, is that the bullet you're using is designed to be used in a muzzleloader, and it's been tested. It's got some history with it, and that all of ours have. We've used it for years. So
Also, in terms of long accuracy and all of that stuff, you want to make sure all of your components work well together. People sometimes believe, oh, I can take this primer and this powder and this bullet, and I'm gonna shoot out to whatever. And that's not always the case. You need to have the correct primer that works well with your powder. There's hotter burning powders on the market. You need to make sure your bullet is the right weight. Either if you're using a fire stick, it's got that enough charge to propel that bullet downrange to where you're looking to be. So all of that really does make a difference in your load and what you're trying to do. So you want to make sure you use the right components.
Sometimes it's really the tyranny of choice. There's so much stuff out in the market, and then you get your naysayers to say, oh, they're only pushing this because they got a partnership and they're trying to sell bullets for some other Joe Schmo company. But I would challenge that, because in the cases like this, and why I'm talking about it with you guys, is that you guys, as you're testing these products, that's what you're doing.
you're vetting these systems against these combinations, what works and what's the safest. You should listen to the manufacturers of these things and shoot. There's no like sleight of hand here. It's a little different than like my turkey shotgun. I'll play around with different loads and different chokes and see what my setup likes, and then fine tune that. Here, I mean, I guess you could do that if you want to drop all the money, or you could just listen to you guys and say, here's what works, here's what we know works. You can go to the range and shoot 200 yards with this hodgepodge of stuff. And yeah, on paper, you put a hole in it and you're accurate. Does it have the energy? Does it have that knockdown power? Do you even know what you're shooting? Are they fragmenting upon impact? Are they staying together and holding that integrity all the way through? Some people don't know.
Yeah.
And they get out there, they got a great shot, and then they start trailing a deer, and there's nothing for blood. And then now what?
Yeah. No, that comes from sighting in your gun ahead of time, going to the range, make sure you got a good group, and doing your homework, like you said, and make sure the bullet you're using, make sure the powder you're using, and just as importantly, make sure the primer or the caps that you're using are designed to ignite that powder.
Right.
I can tell you that we know from firsthand experience, talking about the fire stick now, if you take a fire stick and you use different primers, it changes how that powder burns, and then it changes your downrange accuracy. I've had an individual call me one time and said, listen, I have the nitroFire and I'm shooting these fire sticks and I got like a 6-inch group at 50 yards. I'm like, what? No way. What are you doing? What are you using for a bullet? So we talked it through. Come to find out, he had bought these off-brand primers and he was trying to use them in the fire stick. Well, they weren't sitting down inside the fire stick, and it had a different powder combination and inside that primer, so it didn't ignite the powder. Changed the primer, went back to the range, 2-inch group at 200 yards. Just a primer. And who would have thought just a primer could make that much difference on how that powder burns? And that's what we learn by testing all these different components, like you said, these different bullets, and whether they're ours or somebody else are making them, making them in the market. Make sure that they're right for the gun that you're using, the right brand. But more importantly, to your point, is stick to what the manufacturer does. Or if you don't know, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to tell you what we do know or what we don't know. And we'll be honest with you. If we don't know about that bullet, we'll tell you we don't know that. This is what we recommend. Here's the reasons why. And our goal is to sell our brand. It's to sell products, obviously, but we want to make sure that the experience you're having with our brand is fantastic. So you talk about it and you come back to us again.
You don't want people, going on social media or their chat forums. I mean, that's still a thing, but wherever they go to complaining and showing pictures of blown out, barrels and receivers and stuff like that. That's not good for business. So, the information you're getting. And the other part is, I don't think there's a whole lot of guys out there with ballistic jelly blocks shooting at this stuff to know, right? So listen, you look like you wanted to.
No, and I was going to say that's not just for the fire stick either. Black Corn 209 requires a hotter burning primer for it to work properly. So I think people just don't realize that sometimes, that they need to make sure all the components work properly to what you're saying. So.
Does this new platform have a piece of glass it likes better than others, or is it just kind of play around with it?
We played around with it. There's not any particular one. A lot of people like their 3 to 9x40s. Some of the new optics that are out there today. Like we were shooting the Burris Veracity scopes, where you dial in, which is kind of cool. You dial in at 100 yards, let's say. You set it in, and you go on. And you look at your ballistics chart. You put all the dope in your phone, and you dial it in on your scope. And then your range, let's say 300 yards. You turn your scope, your turret to 300. You hold that on just like you would at 100. And it's all the homework's done for you.
Yeah.
So it's not one over another. The rifle is going to shoot wherever it's going to shoot. It's just, if you like loophole, like we've shot some of the loophole scopes, and those are fantastic also, SIG scopes, but it's not a particular one over the other. They're all good scopes. As long as it's clear for you and it's doing what you want, depends on the price point you want to hit too, obviously.
We sell scopes as well, and they work great. It just depends on what features you're looking for in a scope. So
I think the thing is it's like anything else. You got to have good eye relief, especially on a muzzleloader, because a lot of times you can't get down on the gun like you want to. This new cheek piece that we have on our Pro Series, which is also included on the NitroBolt, it allows you to customize that a little bit, but it gives you a better field of view, but bring yourself closer to that optic. So clearer, obviously, seeing your target, seeing your bullseye, whatever brand preference you have, it works on the NitroBolt.
That's a great add-on as well, that cheek piece, because I'm sitting here thinking about my almost 12-year-old son who has to muckle down, and he just has a real hard time trying to get a good cheek while in practice, shooting fundamentals. He can't. Just doesn't work, and he struggles. And when you put a deer in front of him and compound that frustration with adrenaline and excitement, like
You're trying to make it fit, it's comfortable, and you're tasked with having a deer in front of you and time and
And that all goes back to that accuracy thing that we're talking about, that we're
Mhm.
trying to do here with this firearm, is give you as much of a custom gun that we can, so it fits you or your son in this case,
Yeah.
where he can use it and then you can adjust it back to where you.
Yeah.
This cheek piece is serrated, so you can actually move it, and if you count where you are from the bottom up or the top down,
Okay.
to say it's the fifth notch, you can adjust it for your son now, and then when you want to take it, put it back in the fifth notch, lock it down, add a spacer back in, and do what you want to do. But I think that customization obviously allows you to, let's say that you want to put a higher scope on, or a higher bell, like a 50 millimeter scope, because you want more light. As we get older, our eyes start to fail a little bit. So you need some optics that gather more light or gives you illumination. That allows you to do that if you have to get different rings to change that piece too. So again, it's giving you comfort when you put it in your shoulder, looking down the barrel, looking through your optic. It's going to give you that accuracy.
I noticed that this year about my eyesight. Dude, all of a sudden, like the same scope I've been using for 10 years, it's never like giving me trouble. I looked at a lot of deer in the last 10 minutes and I was like, I can't see. My son's like, I he's right there. I'm like, I can't find him. I can't find him. That light capturing capability is huge.
Yeah, welcome to that part of your life. I've been there a couple years now. I started wearing glasses when I got out in the field just so I could see that crowd. Yeah, nearsighted, so I need to see that crosshair. It just allows me to see it. So that's why I like that nice illuminated dot in the middle, so I can print that out quick. But it's part of getting old, I guess.
Yeah, can't fight it. Trying like hell to fight everything else, but can't lift dumbbells with your eyes and make them stronger, I suppose. But we got cool technology we can put on our new guns and make that work and prolong our experience and make it fun. Um, Before we wrap here, because there's plenty of people in your booth and I'm gobbling up your time. Um, Parting thoughts I'll leave you with. You know, we've covered a lot here with the new platform and the technology. I guess, you know, message to the legislators that are listening. Again, I just want to keep driving this point home of a very easy win they can provide for their sporting community where they need to.
Sure. I think the message that we have is that, we're a company that we're trying to keep muzzleloading alive, to, do different things to get better performance, get the folks back out in the field, keep them hunting it in your states. Also making it safer, making it easier. It's going to help us all accomplish that. Some legislatures, if you haven't tried it, take a look at it. We'll be more than happy to send you in information, get somebody to come up, show it to your folks, whatever we need to do. We're here to work with you to figure out how we keep those hunters out in the field, buying tags, having a good experience, and keep their muzzleloading part of that heritage and all that alive. Whether it's a flintlock gun or the new bolt, NitroBolt, it's again us just trying to develop new innovative ways to do that. So it's
Yeah, we just want people to be involved in muzzle loading. We think it's a great sport. We're users of the product, so we want to see it continue. We want to see seasons grow. And we just, like Tom said, we're willing to do whatever it takes to work with the state to make sure they understand that either the technology or, we can have conversations about expanding seasons, adding a primitive season maybe in some states like we're seeing happen. And we just appreciate the Congressional Sportsmen's Foundation for everything they're doing too on our behalf and many other group's behalf as well, so that we can work towards some of these changes as well.
Awesome. Well, folks, I appreciate you being generous with your time. I know it's a busy few days
We
here.
appreciate it.
it's good to see you, and then thank you for your time as well, and your efforts and what you're trying to do. We appreciate all those.
Hopefully, we have good news out of Connecticut.
Yeah.
We'll keep the audience updated as those pieces get moved. That piece gets moved through. So anyway, I know Christian Ragosta he's on it and very motivated to bring this win home. So as we all are. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your shot.
You too. Enjoy shot.
My thanks to our friends Tom and Allison at Traditions. Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Getting a chance to get in the booth and see all the cool products they have. You know, I think even if you're not an enthusiastic muzzleloader, hunter enthusiast, um,
you just look at their stuff and I think you can just appreciate the craftsmanship, the quality, and then the innovative tech they're trying to bring to the market. And they're just great people, just a nice group of folks, good family, and happy to have their partnership. Um, Most of you, I think, as we've said and we've covered this as it pertains to that Fire Stick technology, are good to go. And as we said, we're working to remedy that with the simple legislative fix in many of the states where this is not yet allowed. So um, we will report on that. More to come immediately. I know, like we said, my colleague Christian Ragosta is working that issue in Connecticut as we speak. So good, hopefully good things to come. But yeah, that's it. If you're a legislator and you're interested in this issue, and you'd like to see more, we can certainly connect dots, connect people, provide model language, the simple tweaks, and get this done. And if it's something you're wanting to pick up in your state, we'd be happy to help and support if we aren't already on it, which would surprise me if we weren't. All right, that's this week's show from SHOT Show. It was a busy week. Check out the roundup, also dropping today. Busy travel week, holiday, inauguration. It's just it's like a while, everything like coming together all at once. And then we got partners and friends in the other parts of the country having shows. So it's been a couple of crazy weeks as far as the community, industry, whatever you want to call it, getting together and moving forward in 2025 and everything to come. So I will leave you with that. Again, thank you to Traditions for their time and hosting us in their space there on the floor of the SHOT Show. And before I get out of here, tip of the cap to our partners at NSSF. It's a beast. It's one hell of a show. I have successfully managed to avoid it until this year. About 15 years of being in this space, and not that I didn't want to come to SHOT. It's Vegas, baby, Vegas. It's a long ride from the East Coast, and as you can hear from my voice now, as I get ready to depart, you tend to leave Las Vegas with maybe a few more germs and definitely less dollars. So uh, Vegas, the gift that keeps on giving. But no, all seriousness, it's a hell of a show. NSSF does a great job. The forums, the opportunity for learning, the B2B experience for folks out there, just creating and innovating, and all this supports our funding. So this is all wildly important. Every one of those firearms on that floor that a PO gets cut for, the ammunition, the accoutrement, all of it goes back to support the conservation efforts and put into that American system of conservation funding. So put a nice tidy bow on this messaging with that. And that's, I think I saw it was like, did they say 14 miles of show row or something like that? 20 acres is a lot. Check it out if you ever get a chance to. And we'll probably be back again next year with this program. But in the meantime, we'll see you next week for our regular roundup. And then a couple of weeks, we'll bring you another feature episode. Thanks for bringing us along and tuning in. So long from Las Vegas. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of the Sportsman's Voice podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your support is crucial, and you can help us out right now by leaving a review, filling in those 5 stars where available, sharing this episode with friends and family, and engaging with us socially. CSF can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Together, we can protect the outdoor sports we love and continue to keep you informed wherever you are. That's it for this week. Until next time, we'll see you later.